my gosh. All right, football fans, welcome back to Fantasy Football. We are here in week two, and we're going to be doing some predictions today, Weston, right?
That's right. We are taking a page out of the book of Daniel and John. I like it. I like the change of pace. I like the dynamic interaction of it. Way better than just text. And so, John and I are going to kick us off here with week two of Fearless Predictions. By the way, well done, everybody, on the first week. And whoever it was that managed the team that scored the highest points last week,
Mm,
well done. Excellent
mm,
manager. John, go ahead and take it away, though.
mm. Yeah, I want to be breaking down to start out Jarrell and Nick this week. So I'm excited about this game, and really to start out, I want to highlight Jarrell. Last week we were looking at a 79% sit to start accuracy. Not what you're looking out of a management to start out, but it's also week one, right? We don't know our players, we don't know what's going on yet. We can't predict Xavier Worthy getting knocked out by Travis Kelce. And we also just didn't know what was going on with Debo, right? 22 points on the bench was fantastic. Frankly, I'm a little sad he's not on my team. He was circled on my list. But nonetheless, we're excited to see what goes on there. And then, I mean, Nick, already 1-0, even with Nico Collins getting just 5 points last week. Fantastic. So as we're looking at this week, it's predicted to be a close game. Personally, I think the Hungry Dog runs faster. I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a big game tonight against Green Bay. Green Bay, obviously fantastic, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a big game on prime time. And then Malik Neighbors. I know last week was a little bit tough, but I think we're going to be seeing a big shootout against Dallas, and I'm not sure that Nick's going to be able to keep up. Trey McCallan, are we going to get 14 points out of him? I don't know. Jalen Williams, he was on the bench last week, and that obviously hurt. Not too bad. He got the win. But, moving them into the starting roster, I'm a little bit nervous about that one. So, at the end of this one, I predict both teams are going to be 1-1, Weston.
Okay. Okay. And so, for the official prediction, who do you have winning?
I have Jarrell,
Terrell. Terrell the win.
the football Devils. It's still
All
pain.
right. Football Devils.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Very good. Well, hey, I want to move to a matchup that's kind of a fun one. We've got Blind Squirrels facing off against the Gritty
Mm,
Committee, which,
mm.
that's Crooksey and Lincoln. Okay, so last week both teams left lots to be desired. They
Yeah.
both underperformed
Yeah.
their projection, and for the Blind Squirrels, like Jamar Chase, really just kind of pooped in his big boy pants a little
Yeah.
bit.
I mean, it's
And
it's
Tony,
Cincinnati. You got to know that. They don't perform
yeah,
until later in the
it's
year.
the freaking natty is really what's going on. I mean, we've got Tony Pollard though also like projected at 14 points, 7.9. I mean
Mm,
that kills you.
can't have that.
Now, I don't expect them to have the same output this week. I'm looking at the team. I like the Jalen Hurts versus Kansas City matchup. I think that could be a potential shootout.
Mhm.
Chase Brown versus Jacksonville. I think there's lots of opportunities for him to get the ball, to get the carry, to keep pushing. And then the big one, really, that's the question mark for me is the Drake London and Michael Penix Jr. Like, is
Yeah.
that really going to be a matchup? Is that going to be something that they can connect on? I don't know.
Do you think he's even
Um,
going to be playing? That was a pretty nasty shoulder injury there at the end of the game.
Right, exactly. Like, who knows what that's even going to look like? I think he's a great player, but like when you come into this next week, is he going to be out there at 100%?
Yeah.
I think Lincoln had a pretty comfortable win last week. Very strong, very even scoring throughout his team. If you look at his scoring on his roster last week, he had very, very even scoring, which is dangerous for fantasy matchups because when you have even scoring, that means anything can happen,
Mhm.
and it's not so much a fluke. So it's dangerous. His quarterback, though, is in a huge question mark right now. Brock Purdy being injured, probably out 5 to 6 weeks, I think
Yeah.
was the last thing. So he's got J.J. McCarthy on his bench. I don't know if he's going to use him. If he does, that's a dangerous one for me. I mean, it's kind of boom or bust.
Mhm.
Right now, yes, he had a good last week, but he's rookie. So who knows on that one. I think right now we have, Bucky Irving and J.J. are his big guns, right? So they're the ones that are going to be his kind of like team that he leans on. And I mean, Brock Bowers is questionable, right? There's just a whole
Yeah.
bunch there. So, and I don't love Kenneth Walker. I don't love what I saw last week. He was 10 for 20 yards, 10 carries, and only got 20 yards. Yes, he got 3 out of 3 receptions, but when you think about a split workload, a backfield, and we're going to talk about Charbonnet more in a minute. I just don't think he's getting the right end of the stick. So I think Crooksy has the advantage and gets the win this week. Blind squirrels.
Blind squirrels, they're chasing the nuts all year. So I'm excited
Yeah,
to see
all
it.
up in the nuts. Yeah.
All excited to see that one. So I'm going to be actually highlighting your game next,
Okay.
Mish. So with that, Chandler actually beginning the year off with the back-to-back family affair.
Right.
Week one plays Lincoln. Week two plays Dad. I mean, talk about rival.
Reverse.
Yes,
No, you're right. Yeah, yeah. Week one
yes,
he played me. Week two, nope. You're right.
yes. As I was saying, this is just going to be bringing rivalry. I mean, heated debate at the dinner table. Like, I know they're already doing gauntlets in the football field, but Chandler got the upper hand last week, and now,
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing when you watch two managers take competition from the phone to actual the dinner table and
yes.
then the living room and then up to the and it becomes for a dad, and I'm just imagining really wild to figure out like, hey, this is fantasy of a fantasy, like it's fantasy football, like it's
Yeah.
not real football. It doesn't matter who can run the fastest 40. Y'all are playing an imaginary game right now, so
Yeah. It seems like you might be venting a little bit.
yeah, maybe it's fine.
But that's okay. Regardless, it's still, it's hard, right? You lose to your brother, and then you're playing your dad, right? Looking at AJ Brown, T. Higgins, Loveland, you know, T. Higgins was 6 points, was the highest of those three. I mean, how do you expect that to happen? AJ Brown running commentary. Does Justin Fields know that AJ Brown's still on his team? We've seen this week in and week out, and so we're hoping that we can get some turnaround there. I am predicting a big bounce back game for AJ Brown. It's clear that Jalen Hurts does listen to the media. So I expect a better performance out of AJ Brown, but a really bold move coming out of Chandler benching his QB after week one. Jared Goff and the Lions, they looked rough. Let's admit it. Maybe it's the Ben Johnson transition, but benching Jared Goff and Ridley after week one, I'm a little bit nervous. Not to say that Herbert with 32 points and Zay Flowers with 30 wasn't big, but that's a lot of movement early in the season. That being said, I do like Zay Flowers. I think the Ravens are going to be having a big, big bounce back game. That loss against the Bills was gut-wrenching, and we're hoping that they can bounce back. That being said, still nervous. They lost last year after a heartbreaker. So, really a coin flip. But that being said, I think that they're going to be doing some good stuff there. So, I think this is a really important game for you, Commish. We're betting on the old dogs. I'm not going to let go of that narrative. Huge game out of Derrick Henry last week. 32 points with a fumble.
Yep.
Fantastic. I mean, CMC with 23, it was looking good. Your kicker had 17. I mean, it's solid, solid way to get a win and 95% accuracy on your sit to start ratio. Fantastic job there. So,
Appreciate it.
um, that being said, I'm nervous. Bo Nix had a rough game last week. I think Kamara's going to be, continuing on his decline. So, again, I'm going to be predicting a 1-1 at the end of this week. I'm giving the W to Chandler.
All right. All right. All right. Appreciate that. I respect it. Okay. We're going to take a look at Naked in a Trade versus Dak Street Boys.
Hmm.
This is your
Great
team.
name.
Your
It's a great
team,
name.
John.
Great.
So, a couple things. Jeff came out swinging, or should I say, Josh Allen came out swinging. He had 44 points in week one. It's amazing. And to be straight, it's the reason for the win. Yes, he had a couple other big scores, but if Allen doesn't score 44 points, there's no win here because that's how points work. You have to score. And the problem that I see here is when you have somebody scoring 44 and they're getting a win, yes, it was a double-digit win. Actually, I think it was like a 20-point win. You still are concerned that he's not going to do 44 every week, right? And so that for me is a big concern. Garrett Wilson was probably the most surprising thing for me. He was 7 for 9, 95-1. I mean, that's a lot with just less than 10 targets. Like to take 9 targets, 7 receptions, and go 95-1. I mean, that's surprised me. Don't know if that's going to continue. Last week, your team, Backstreet Boys, really underperformed, and man, I'm so sorry about that. Really did not help that your Thursday night game started with a 7-point outing from Dak. I mean, that kind of the whole week, rest of the weekend, you're like really not fun to watch. But
Named my team after him. What do you
yeah,
think?
yeah.
But I will say, my man, I watched the game. He was throwing it. He was aggressive. I like to see that out of my QB. Balls just weren't coming down. I'm seeing a big bounce back week from him this week.
I mean, here's the deal. Dak is a fantasy darling. And everybody loves to hate him, but in
Yeah.
fantasy football, he scores points.
Mhm.
So it also sucked that you lost the game on the last play in an attempt of a miracle play, and,
Yeah.
and sometimes you end up losing the game. That sucks.
It's an incomplete pass in my book.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they should have just like, it's over, right? Not a fumble.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brees Hall, Puka were the bright spots. I think Puka did what he hoped he would. Brees Hall kind of surprised us all. I think and this week it's currently pretty even. I don't think Dak will just do 7, but I'm also not confident Brees will do what he did last year. So if I were to point at a player on each team that I think will probably be the difference makers, saying everyone else just plays normal football, I think ETN's performance will make or break Jeff. I think whether or not because Tank Bigsby has left, leaving ETN the workload, if he can actually like score, then I think that could really help Jeff. For your team, John, I think the person to look at is DJ Moore. I think whether or not he's involved or not, again, if everybody else plays normal football, does what they're expected, I think DJ Moore will be the swing factor for you. I think Dak score. This is a big projection. I think Dak is actually going to outscore Josh Allen this week. I think he's going to outscore him. I know it's crazy, but I think Buffalo will go up quick and then a lot of running versus the game that Dak is playing is going to be more of a back and forth, thus throwing more. So because of that, I think John moves to 1-1.
Thank you. Do you really quick, do you think that CJ Williams Caleb Williams, excuse me, is trying to kill DJ Moore?
Yeah, I think if you imagine like a catch radius, I
Yeah.
think that catch radius is quite large. I don't know, like it's hard to imagine sometimes when people are like, "Hey, is that 10 feet?" And you're like, "Well, just imagine where DJ or Caleb Williams' open receiver is, and then imagine where he throws the ball. That's about a 10 feet difference. So kind of that's like a way to judge, you know.
Yeah. You
So
know,
we'll
I mean, a missed wide open touchdown at the end of the game.
that you have to have. And here's
That'll
the
right.
deal about Caleb Williams. He does that. I'm going to give him 2 more games. If he's missing targets in 2 more games like that, he's not playing anymore.
Yeah.
That's my
And then I
prediction.
mean, he's let him out to dry on that big hit
Yeah.
at the end as
Gonna
well.
kill him. Gonna kill him.
DJ Moore might be taking Alvin Kamara's seat and just quitting. So we'll see what happens there. I'm nervous though.
Yep.
I don't have any more predictions. Frankly, we went in order. So back to you, Weston.
Back to me. All right. Well, I'm going to take a look. How did we go out of order? That was wild.
I had 2, you had 3.
And I kicked you instead of starting it like you said. Okay. Well,
All right, we're ironing it out. It's week 1.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a look at Albanian alligator, which I have to like double check every single time because I just don't know where the birds went. But
is it racist?
Is it racist? Not if you're Albanian and an alligator, then it's true.
They get to say it, I guess.
Right. So versus McBridezilla. All right. So we are one crazy play away from both teams being 0-1. Right. One questionable call away. But yeah, here we are, Kelton with the win. Last week, Daniel's team really underperformed. The boys didn't play. Getting under 10 points from Tyreek and Thomas really hurt. Like, that's just not what you're looking for. Now, I don't like there's so many question marks swirling right now about Tyreek Hill. I'm not sure where that's going to land. It'll be interesting to see, though, what is a trend and what's a fluke. And I think that's where, like, making massive adjustments in your first few weeks of fantasy football is probably not wise unless you know you made a mistake. But usually just stick with your team for a few weeks and see what happens because we want to find trends, not flukes, right? Both these teams, though, kind of rely on Tua, which is scary. You've got Achane and you've got Tyreek Hill. Both of them play better when Tua's on the field. Both really take a hit when Tua's hurt. And so that's just has always made me super nervous. But at least they have that in common. Again, if I was to point at 2 players that I think might be a difference maker, I'm going to look at Kelton and I'm going to say it's Charbonnet. Again, back to the Seattle's backfield. It's a split backfield. At least in week 1, Charbonnet, though, looked to be the better back. He looked stronger. He looked faster. And if it stays split, it's always going to be a scary start because you just don't know. But I actually think it's going to start leaning towards Charbonnet. For Daniel, I would say it's Montgomery. I
Mhm.
mean, does he still have enough juice? And if he can produce, I think that would be good. So I'm going to say, though, that Pearsall doesn't get 13. He actually goes under his projection. I mean, he's projected around 13 points. I think he doesn't do that. And I actually think Bijan goes for more than 20 points this year. So I'm going to give this game. So I'm going to give this week to Daniel.
Who's throwing the ball in San Francisco this week?
Bro, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, what's their backup? I think we could do a quick search real quick. Who are they putting
Yeah.
in? I don't know if they made the decision yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Now I am curious not to stick on
Oh, it's Mac Jones, bro.
Mac Jones. That's tough.
Right. So I think maybe for the wide receiver one, the first target might be if the first target's open, I think you're going to hit him. But again, that's where I don't think Pearsall is going to do 13 points.
Yeah, no, I do want to highlight in not to bully my good friend Kelton. It just seems like he's the topic of my conversation this year. But Tank Bigsby got traded to Philadelphia. What are our thoughts on that? I mean, that's a late bloomer, maybe. We're hoping for Saquon injury. I don't know. Do we think that that's going to make any kind of difference this year? Right now, he's projected for 0.6 points. He is on the bench, but just for the sake of trends and curiosity. Thoughts on Tank?
Yeah, thoughts on Tank. He's a drop candidate for me.
Hmm.
I would lose him quick in the waivers. I don't see
Yeah.
any reason why you need to hold on to Tank Bigsby right now. I mean, if you have a place to stash him and hold for a month and see what happens, sure. But
Yeah, speaking of dropping candidates and stashing rosters, I am curious, Chandler, if you're out there and you're listening still at this point of our video, why is Mixon still on your bench? We have IR slots for a reason. Um, use it. So
right,
that's just free advice.
yeah.
If you made it this far.
Very good. Well, John, we got one more prediction. We have our midweek challenge, which is the top scoring team with the highest number of points, bench not included.
Mhm.
Quick look for me shows that currently Nick is projected to score the highest number of points this week. However, I'm going to lean and give this projection to Crooksy. I think Crooksy's team comes out firing. I think I like the way that he's got it stacked right now, and with Jalen Hurts playing Kansas City, Chase Brown playing Jacksonville. I think that's going to get the highest points. That's my projection. What about you?
I'm going to double down on that. I mean, frankly, just looking at Crooksy's roster right now, I do very limited prep for these meetings, but I think we could be seeing a championship run out of Crooksy this year. I mean,
Ooh, that's early.
like, every piece of his roster I like. I mean, even if we just look at his bench, J.K. Dobbins had a phenomenal game last week. Jordan Mixon played great. I mean, I could see him becoming the lead back here pretty quickly in Minnesota. Keenan Allen's always a fantastic, like, hey, I got some buys, fantastic there. And then Pittman had a good
Yeah,
game. I
yeah,
don't know. There's still a lot of question marks in
yeah.
Indianapolis. Were they just playing the dumpster fire that is Miami? Is Daniel Jones the real deal after a year in Minnesota underneath that
Yeah,
coaching tree?
yeah,
But
no,
based on his roster right now, I really like what's going on with
yeah,
those nut chasers, and I think we're gonna have a long, long season and potentially.
yeah, yeah. Hot take. I think Keenan Allen's going to win a lot of people championships this year in the fantasy world. I think he and
Yeah.
Justin Herbert have a great relationship. So watch him to score that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. Thanks, friends. Bye bye.